standby assisting us, I would request the acting president of NATU, the Honorable Minister, and Umama Wetu, Mrs. Thompson, to come and assist us in the lighting of the candle. The acting president will light the candle that is in the middle. The first one is the minister, the second one is the acting president, and the third one, Umama Thompson. Nguwe Nkosi, Nguwe Nkosi, oh
Susayo,
Susayo,
Sonki,
Sono,
Sonki,
Sono.
Somtu.
As a conductor or a former conductor, you are changing a couple like a man. Nguwe Nkosi, Nguwe Nkosi,
Oh, Susayo,
Susayo,
Sonki, Sono,
Sonki Sono.
Somtu.
You know, he sang this song on the 31st of October 2020. It was as if he was saying goodbye. It was as if he was saying, I've done my task. Nguwe Nkosi, Nguwe Nkosi,
Oh, Susayo,
Susayo,
Sonki, Sono,
Sonki Sono,
Somtu.
Nguwe Nkosi,
Uwe Nkosi,
Nguwe Nkosi,
oh, Susayo,
Susayo,
Sonki, Sono,
Sonki Sono,
Somtu.
Hasula wa Sula, Mahasula,
Yami,
Wenkosi, Wenkosi,
Songi, Sono, Somtu.
request our bishop to come and pray for us. Bishop, over to you.
Akesikebisa makhanda. Sisho njalo nasemini. Sithi nguwe Nkosi osusayo zonke izono zomuntu. Siyakhuleka nasemini uNkulunkulu wethu sikhanyisa lamakhandlela. Sesizwile ukuthi lisymbolize ukuthi ukukhanya kunamandla kunobumnyama. Makuthi noma siye sadlula kuleli thunzi lesigodi sokufa, kodwa sisho njengoDavide wasendulo athi thy rod and thy staff they comfort us, O God. Father of all compassion and Father of mercy, comfort the family, comfort the NATU organization, comfort our city, comfort our province, and comfort our nation. Baba, simi ethembeni elilodwa ukuthi nakuba umuntu wangaphandle ebukeka sengathi kuphelile ngaye, kodwa umuntu wangaphakathi wenziwa musha imihla ngemihla. Ngakho asidangali noma sihlangabezana nalezi inkinga imihla ngemihla, ngoba thina esikholwayo asibuki okubonwa ngamehlo, ngoba okubonwa ngamehlo kungokwesikhashana, kodwa okungaphakathi kuphila ingunaphakade. Bless this kindly light, O God. Let it revive hope to the hopeless. As we all know that our brother SA Thompson was the voice to the voiceless, may we continue to do his work in honor of your name. In the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, and in the name of the Holy Spirit, I bless this kindly light. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Yebo bagithi somonale lothuma izulingene Jesu nathi uJesu unathi ngomoya ephake ngale sizomona yebo bakithi yebo somona lothuma isululingene uJesu fanele ubukhosi wathunyiswa phezulu yebo bakithi sombona lothuma isululingene lothuma yebo uJesu fanele ubukhosi thunyiswa phezulu
This is one of our leaders from the South Coast. Siyabonga Sotobe, comrades. I wish to extend our greetings to our members who are actually watching this ceremony on various social media platforms. Others are on Twitter, others are on Facebook, even on YouTube. Also acknowledge that we have other members who are on the overflow. We wish to greet you, colleagues. We are happy that you have joined us in this ceremony. Over to you, Vice President.
Thank you very much. Comrades, friends, family, tutuzegani. Asitutuzegeni, hari tshedise, hari amohele, Ngiyati kutsi tinhlitiyo tetfu tibhlungu. Ngiyati kutsi angeke sikhohlwe. Kodwa ke kufanelekile ukuthi siyembile. Let us allow God to comfort us. Let us allow God to give us peace in our hearts. Because our late president fought for this organization. Our former president fought for this organization. Our past presidents fought for this organization, for us to be where we are today, for us to be who we are today. Duduzekani. Right now, I'm moving to item number 6. I will ask Xolani and friends, I will give you one item due to time. Xolani and friends, please entertain us.
So,
Let me further indicate that we also have the Department of Health. My colleagues, Umapumala, or whenever they get time, they can visit their desk. It is important, especially Vilaguso, just to visit them to check, cholesterol, level of sugar, high blood, COVID, and many diseases. But most of all, they are also here to assist us with the vaccination program. Would like to encourage you, colleagues, to take the vaccine. I know that as NATU, we have tried by all means that our teachers, our members, take part in the vaccination program. And you would understand that we've made a huge progress ever since we have taken the vaccine. We also further encourage you to take the second jab. Thank you very much. I want to believe that the band is ready. Over to you.
1 2 1 2. Sanbonani. 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 Hayi thina soshintsha imodi thina. Igama lami uNxani Mdluli from Richards Bay. Bekuba kwethu lo. Angazi nokuthi ngikuthini ngoba ukudlula kwakhe kwadlula ngesikhathi esimbi singakwazi ukuphithizela. Sasifisa ngisho ukuthi sibe khona ngendlela ayisithanda ngayo. So kunengoma ayeyithanda ebesiyenza esizoyenza namhlanje. Kodwa before lokho bengicela ukucula angithi njengamanje asiduduzeke bazalwane seku right manje yebo inhliziyo zebhlungu kodwa asiduduzeke manje. Ngicela ukuthi ayikho ngomame Kongo bathi Kongo mami Jebeleza Kongo Hayi Kongo mami Mami Kongo Kongo mami Jebeleza Kongo Hayi Jebeleza njalo Ebuseni Jebeleza Nandambaba Ay, shebeleza njalo, shebeleza ebuseni, shebeleza andambama, shebeleza kongo. Ay, Congo, mami. Congo, obati Congo, mami.
Shebeleza Congo.
Ay, Congo, mami. Congo, obati Congo, mami.
Shebeleza Congo.
Siyacula song. Oh, Todi, what shall we do? Senzinja. Oh, Todi, what shall we do? Senzinja. Besafuna kulunga, okay. Sengahlala phansi, sengahlala phansi, sengahlala phansi. Sanalalalala, samanama, samawawawa, salalala, welanana, wele, sananana, wele, wele, yeah. There's a train that comes from Namibia and Malawi. There's a train that comes from Angola and Mozambique. There's a train that comes from Zambia and Zimbabwe. From Lesotho, from Botswana, from Swaziland, from all the hidden and of Southern and Central Africa. This train carries young and old African men who are constituted to come and work on contract in a gold mineral mine of Johannesburg and its surrounding metropolis. 16 hours or more a day for almost no pay. Deep down in the belly of the earth. When they digging and drilling for that shiny, mighty, massive stone, or when they dish that mishmash food into their own blade with their own sharp, or when they sitting in their stinky, funky, free-reading barracks and hostels, they think about their loved one they may never see again. They think about their land and their head will be taken away from them with the gun and the bomb and the tear gas and the keyboard. When they hear that chichi train pumping and screaming and moaning and bumping and screaming and moaning and bumping and screaming and moaning and bumping and bumping and screaming and bumping and screaming and moaning and bumping and screaming and they always scared. And they cast the coal train that brought them into Johannesburg. Give Ralph for Bonello on piano. As I'm showing you on this Bonello. Still sihamba ngamalahle siveletha la kubaye shakadu oh bathi sitimela sihamba ngamalahle siveletha la kubaye osangila khagwa aweba bathi sizo mama lahle sizo mama lahle osangila khagwa aweba bathi sizo mama lahle. Hey, what's up, what's up?
Thank you. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. Yeah, they've just, when they started singing, they've just said, Tutuzegan. Let us move on. Ayichabalaleni. Hiya mahlweni. Nabutomi. Tutuzegani again. Now I was saying it in Zonga. Bosisi nobhuti, ningeve ubuhlungu kakhulu. Ngoba xa sesingasakwazi ukuqhubeka, asizukwazi ukusebenza. Ngalokho umsebenzi kufanelekile ukuba uqhubeke. Fanelekile ukuba siye phambili. Ho tshwanetse re ye pele. Kufanele siye phambili. Now I'm moving to item number 7. Tribute messages. I will request our stakeholders to ascend the stage as follows, and they'll be given each 3 minutes. The SAIS CEO, Ms. Ella Mahalane. She will be followed by PEU, Ben Mashidi. On that note, I also want to welcome our former Vice President, R.N. Ngobo. He is among us. Viva Ngobo, viva!
Nginamsebenzi qina.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Greetings to our Honorable Minister and also our Honorable Ngobo. You know, he's in the committee that we report to, the Portfolio Committee on Basic Education. But we also greet the acting president as well as Deputy President Mabuza. GS, we greet you. The Thompson family, my SAIS councillors, I wouldn't have done my work if I don't greet Councillor Mbata and Councillor Ntlapo. They are your representatives in the SAIS Council. And also all the guests, all the NATU members who by right, and we are not claiming, who by right, Deputy President, they are our professional members of SAIS. So greetings to you all. So on behalf of the SAIS Council, I'm sending a message of support and appreciation to the NATU leadership for really recognizing the immense role that was played by Mr. Thompson, including keeping his legacy alive through this memorial service and the befitting theme that says, you left an indelible mark, I think, and footprint, and you will be forever remembered. And as members of the teaching profession, we are also saying your theme and message is resonating very well with us. We are also saying the silence of Mr. Thompson's voice in the teaching profession is just too loud. I think you would agree with me. And we are also saying this is because he was extremely vocal on broader educational matters in the sector, as well as professional matters, because he understood the importance of protecting the profession and also respecting the quality of teaching and learning. Equally, I can attest to that. He held all of us accountable. And he would not hesitate to pick up a call and a phone and say, CEO, I'm not happy with this one. And that shows that he was speaking on your behalf. He kept the voice of NATU alive and made sure that all of us were on track in as far as the work that we are doing. He served the best interest of the teaching profession and learners of the country. And therefore, acting president and also deputy president and the entire leadership of NATU and members. As council will forever cherish his legacy, thanks to his family and NATU for sharing him with the entire basic education sector. And that is why we're still standing today, because he made a contribution. Thank you very much.
Amandla. Long live NATU, long live. Long live the spirit of Thompson, long live. To the NATU leadership, to the Thompson family, to the Honorable Minister, shall I say protocol observed. As Professional Educators Union, we join you to celebrate the life of the stalwart, the life of the fearless leader, the life of this gallant fighter who ever walked this planet Earth, the life of the person who is the voiceless of the voice of the voiceless in this befitting memorial service. Indeed, Alan Thompson may be gone, but he is still living with us. From the Professional Educators Union, we want to urge you as NATU and its members to keep alive his two main attributes that are associated with Thompson. One of them was speaking truth to power. He was fearless. Secondly, he singularly profiled NATU in the media. You will never miss NATU in the media when Thompson was still with us. For that we say, indeed, let's make sure that he is gone, but he is not forgotten. From an author in the village who once said, no one is truly dead until the ripple effects of what he said during his life fade away. So it with Thompson. To the Thompson family and the NATU leadership, from the Professional Education Union, we wish you strength so that the Almighty God can give you power to pull through this. With these few words, we want to say thank you for the opportunity.
Hiyo ndinkhonyama, hiyo ndinkhonyama, hiyo ndinkhonyama, uThompson ndinkhonyama, hiyo ndinkhonyama, uThompson ndinkhonyama, uThompson ndinkhonyama,
Thank you, thank
Yole
thank
Koyama Utomsi Koyama.
Right now, I'm going to call GEPF, Mr. Simanga Silimela, followed by Metropolitan Thabo Madima. 3 minutes each, please. Come forth.
Yole Koya. Yole Koya. Yole Koya. Utomsi Koya. Yole Utomsi Koyama.
Thank you very much to the Minister of Basic Education, Memo Tshekga, the Acting President of NATU, and the entire leadership, to the Thompson family, the clergy, and the entire membership of NATU. Thank you very much for allowing the Government Employees Pension Fund to celebrate with you the life of a giant. While it is difficult to accept and also taking from what the program director said, that we need to move on, I just want to pass a message from the Board of Trustees of the GPF and the entire management of the GPF that while you, the Thompson family, and NATU have lost a giant, we also feel the same as the GPF, because President Thompson was one of the trustees of the Government Employees Pension Fund. We all know his contribution and his love for his people, for he worked hard to ensure that your pension benefits are looked after and taken care of diligently. As a result of that, the Board of Trustees and the entire management of GPF have requested me to pass this message to the leadership of NATU and the membership that it is indeed true that the spear has fallen. Pick it up, for the struggle continues. Thank you very much.
Metropolitan.
Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Thabo Matime, Head of Market Access at Metropolitan Life. To the Thompson family, to the leadership of NATU, to the Honorable Minister, all protocol observed. Good afternoon. I convey a message of support and solidarity from Metropolitan Life. As a commercial partnership or a partner to NATU, we dealt with and engaged with Mr. Thompson and the Central Executive Board on a regular basis. What stands out for us, and it was mentioned earlier, was the sheer professionalism of Mr. Thompson. We will be forever grateful for the manner in which he engaged with us. He has left a legacy of true servant leadership and excellence, attributes that are sorely needed in our society today. NATU and the education sector have lost a giant, but his spirit lives on. And it is for all of us gathered here today to take that work forward. We thank you very much.
Viva NATU, viva. Now I'm going to call JVS, Mr. Jeremy Naidu. After him, it will be Atlas Printers, Mr. Vince Gokul.
abasazi basiswa ngendaba
abasazi basizwa ngendaba
abasazi basiswa ngendaba
abasazi basizwa ngendaba
awuyele yelele mama awuyele yelele mama abasazi basiswa ngendaba viva NATU viva viva NATU viva.
My name is Jerome Naidu from JBS. I'm the CEO and brand marketing manager for JBS agencies. I'm the one that makes you look all good in your attire and uniforms. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all and to follow all protocols of the head that's been given the opportunity to be here. I am honored to be here and to have known Mr. Alan Thompson is a true legend and voice of the people. I spent the latter December, on the 10th of December, with him at our offices, and he asked us, Jerome, how do we go forward with making my people look good? If they look good in an attire and having flying NATU banners all above, then we are all winners. He led by his decisive protocol of saying, yes, I look good, everybody else could look good. And I also want to say, I'm actually lost for words right now, for all the words that has been spoken thus so far, of his goodness, his character, his charisma, his policies of work, his governing, and with the people behind him. It's just too much and too overwhelming. I trusted in him, and I want to thank the board and for the members that's here. Thank you for giving us the opportunity and partnership. Without you, NATU is nowhere. Thank you.
Viva Naidu, viva! Viva Naidu, viva! Atlas Printers, Mr. Vince Gokul.
Ya tenda ya makapitale, 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 tenda ya makapitale.
Greetings from our family at Atlas Printers to all the members of NATU, to the Thompson family, to the Honorable Minister. Mr. Thompson I looked to him as an elder brother. He dealt with my father for many years, even before he was president. And on my father's passing, he dealt with me. And he, like the speaker before me said, he was with us around the 10th, 15th of December, and with a great shock, we find out a few weeks later that he's not with us anymore. The hours he put in for NATU, the effort he put in to make sure that NATU came first was an example we all need to follow. He would push himself, long hours, make sure we get things done on time, put the best foot forward for NATU, and always to put all of you first. I would get calls at odd hours, needing things at the last minute. It was part of the deal. That was not a problem. Because when you see the goodness of someone in the efforts that they make, it's not a problem. Positive energy will join with you and will help you achieve that. So, big shoes to fill. His presence is surely missed, but we know he's with us. As I walked in here, I felt as if he was here saying welcome. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vince Gokul from Atlas Printers. Now I'm going to call the mayor of Amajuba.
Lo muntu ojoyinu natapinda chige. Omuntu apinda chige. Abanye. 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 Haugodwa tina. Ayo! Yebo abanye. Abanye. Itu abanye. Haugodwa tina.
Thank you. Right now, I will ask our beautiful, beautiful Pongolo choir. Hey, Natu is rich. I is rich like what Natu. Hi, Abasa. Pongolo.
Uchimongitwale mizanda ekhanda
Ngihayize impela kuthi mangihayize kukushiwo umholi wethu uThompson.
Uchimongitwale izandla ekhanda
Ngihayize impela kuthi mangihayize kukushiwo umholi wethu uThompson. Wayengakhethi bala lomuntu, wayelusizo kuyo iNATU. Siyalima NATU ngokuhamba kweqhawe, masibumbane MaNATU, sihlale njalo sisonke. Wayengakhethi bala lomuntu, wayelusizo kuyo iNATU. Siyalima NATU ngokuhamba kweqhawe, masibumbane MaNATU, sihlale njalo sisonke. ibambeni makawe, ibambeni makawe, ibambeni makawe, enatu, ibambeni makawe, ibambeni makawe, ibambeni makawe, enatu, ibambeni makawe, ibambeni matatu, ibambeni matatu, ibambeni, ibambeni makawe, ibambeni matatu, ibambeni matatu, ibambeni, ibambeni makawe, ibambeni makawe, ibambeni makawe, enatu, ibambeni makawe, ibambeni makawe, ibambeni makawe, enatu, ibasithelelina. Wazamazama umhlaba, wazamazama umhlaba, waqephula amatshe, ngempela lo indodana kaNaTU. Wazamazama umhlaba, wazamazama umhlaba, waqephula amatshe, ngempela lo indodana kaNaTu. Ngempela lo indodana, ngempela lo indodana, ngempela lo indodana kaNaTu. Ngempela lo indodana, ngempela lo indodana kaNaTu. Waqephula amatshe, ngempela lo indodana kaNaTu. Waqephula amatshe, ngempela indodana kaNaTu. Ngempela lo indodana, ngempela lo indodana kaNaTu. Hayibo!
Siyabonga kakhulu, siyabonga kakhulu. Thank you very much.
Ngempela lo indodana, ngempela lo indodana kaNaTu.
Thank you. That was lovely. That was lovely. Minister, CEO, I said NATU is very rich. We have the choir, a lovely choir. We have the drummies. I siphethe la kwaNATU. Right now, we are moving to item number 8. I need everybody to sit down. Nobody should move. Ihlale phansi ibambe umthetho. You are going to watch the video clip, the documentary of our late President SA Thompson. That is why I ask everyone to sit down. No movement, please. And be quiet. Over to you.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu, Vice President. Ngempela uyinvotsana yeNATU. NATU ibonile i-Central Executive Board kuthi kufanelekile ukuthi yende i-documentary letawukhuluma ngemisebenzi leyendiwe ngu-the late president. Angeke uqedze umsebenzi lo wendiwe ngu-the late president. Umsebenzi wakhe munyendi kakhulu. Lokhu nje ngilokufinyetiwe kwekuthi nasihlangene la simkhumbula sikhona ukuthi sibiyekede umsebenzi wakhe la owendela lenhlangano le selflessly. So this documentary is going to assist us in terms of reflecting on the work of our legend, on the work of our hero, on the work of our stalwarts. Let us all pay attention. Thank you very much. Over to you, sound engineer. We are gathered here to talk about the life of the NATU stalwart, our hero. Indeed, it is very much difficult to talk about a person of Mr. Thompson's caliber. In these attributes, we'll look at a number of issues, the milestones and the happenings that will accurately and adequately reflect the life of a visionary, a dynamic, and an energetic man such as Mr. Thompson. Indeed, he contributed a lot in the life of NATU as an organization. Hence, we're taking this opportunity to reflect on a number of issues with regard to his journey as a leader, rising from a very early age where he had actually demonstrated and portrayed very skillful and powerful leadership. Mrs. Kumbuzo Allen Thompson, President of the National Teachers Union, was born in Newcastle on the 7th of February 1975 to Mr. James and Mrs. Catherine Thompson. And then he began his schooling at Qetis Zaba Lower Primary School. Then proceeded to Sipeni Higher Primary School. He then matriculated at Sabela Secondary School. The most interesting thing is that after he had finished the matric, he went back to the very same institution to teach. He had actually demonstrated a lot of high leadership skills. We see him in his journey registering or enrolling with the University of the North under Kwakwa campus, where he graduated in 1999. He obtained a degree, especially an honors degree in education. Also attributed to his leadership, amazingly so. He also was engaged in leadership programs of the church, where he served as a youth president at the General Church of Zion as early as the age of 17. That is so amazing. After qualifying as a mathematics and physical sciences educator from Kwakwa, he was then employed at Lipaletu Secondary School, where he also obtained many accolades for his best approach in education. When we talk about Mr. Thompson at NATU, it didn't really take him a very long time. Mr. Thompson rose as a leader, as a lion. You know, he belonged to Ubombo branch of the North Coast region, where in this branch, you know, he quickly distinguished himself as a skillful organizer, a formidable and shrewd negotiator. His abilities just twinkle like an evening star as he put a very outstanding performance in the bargaining chambers in representation of members. Mr. Thompson had really committed himself in making sure that he serves this organization with distinctions. After he had actually served at the level of the branch as the chairperson of Ubombo, and also a member of the REC, the Regional Executive Committee of the North Coast region, Mr. Thompson was then elected as a vice president in 2006. After serving in this portfolio, he was also elected subsequently to be the deputy president of the National Teachers Union. Amazingly so, he served in various portfolios in this organization. At some point, he even served in more than one portfolio after the conference of the 2011, where he was also elected as a deputy president. He then served as the general secretary of the organization and also as an executive director. You know, in this combined portfolio, Mr. Thompson would always be visible. His presence in the organization would be felt, especially when it comes to the media issues.
As we are approaching the Christmas holidays, which means their families are not going to enjoy anything simply because their parents never received a single cent in a form of a salary adjustment. We have tried to elevate this matter to the Department of Education in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, making them aware that other provinces are paying at least a minimum of 6,000 rand, but they've decided to ignore us.
Mr. Thompson worked closely with the erstwhile NATU President, Mr. S.L. Ngobo. He had actually achieved a lot working together with the immediate past president in ensuring that NATU's presence is felt in every household. He contributed a lot in terms of ensuring that he went all out to ensure that people understood NATU's position on critical issues, both in times of peace and other educational issues, but most of all, he fought so much to ensure that the conditions of services for educators are improved. Not only conditions of services for educators, but all the employees in the education sector, because you understand that NATU has even other members apart from educators, members of support staff, even extended to office-based educators. All these are the members of NATU. Mr. Thompson has contributed a lot in ensuring that he lifts the flag of NATU very high. In 2018, prior to the National Leadership Elective Conference, NATU had actually experienced many challenges. Indeed, the organization was under attack. It was the year of many turbulence, simply because NATU has refused to watch the department doing corruption. We were very much concerned at the level of the organization with what was happening in the provincial education department. And the then Deputy President, Mr. Thompson, by then, he was very much vocal and also making sure that he speaks about this corruption which has actually took place. You would remember, colleagues, members, and leaders, that there was the issue of the sanitary towels, which actually led to the attempt to assassinate the late president. This was a very painful thing to happen. It has led to many issues with many unanswered questions up to now.
We are talking about
NATU wants alleged corrupt education officials in KwaZulu-Natal to be brought to book. They are demanding answers. The teacher union wants to know why vacant posts are not filled, why there was an oversupply of sanitary towels in some schools, and why some grade R teachers have not been paid.
You cannot force teachers to forfeit their salaries because you wanted to pay 120 million for sanitary towels. That is not acceptable, it's something that we need to do everything possible in our power to fight against.
The union has labeled the multi-million rand sanitary towel tender corrupt and a thorough investigation to be concluded.
NATU wants the investigating team to provide effective system of independence and objectivity to ensure that investigating activities are conducted thoroughly.
But Mr. Thompson has always been there for the organization.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. Well, it's not true that NATU was not necessarily happy about the initiative itself. We had no problem with the initiative. In fact, we are one of the people who support that. The only difficulty that we had was when there was an overspending when it comes to the issue of the purchasing of sanitary towels, owing to the fact that there was 20 million that was budgeted for it. But at the end of the day, we ended up having more than 200 million that was spent on that. And our difficulty was that we were having schools that were without teachers. We're having positions, over 4,000 positions that were vacant, which means people were supposed to be employed so that they can be able to give support to schools. We're having grade R learners to grade 3 learner schools that were oversupplied also with sanitary towels. We had difficulty of sick rooms that ended up being converted into the storage rooms for the sanitary towels. So the issue was not about the distribution. The issue was not about making it available to the most vulnerable learners. But the issue was when the grade R educated learners were given such, and when the parents started to confront our members, the teachers in particular, to say to them, why do you want us to introduce sex education to a child that is as little as 5 years? So now that is why then we started to raise the issue, and the National Minister of Education decided to institute a forensic investigation, of which we are still worried about it because it has not taken off. And today, those are some of our issues that we also raised when we are having some discussion with the officials of the department, to say the department promised to institute an investigation just to find out what really happened, but we have never received a report in as far as that issue, tender processes. We even raised issues of quality, and because those sanitary towels that were made available were not even endorsed by the South African Bureau of Standards. So we wanted those cases to be investigated so that we can give assurance to parents that it was even safe for their own children to receive such.
We have seen him as a very dedicated and selfless leader who rose beyond the situations and the turbulence that we have at the level of the organization. Mr. Thompson became a target of those involved in the ongoing mischief. He was attacked by unknown persons, shot several times in a military style in a broad daylight on the 11th of May 2018, with an intention to silence him. He managed to outwit the attackers and survived to the tail. Despite all that, despite several bullets on behalf of NATU as an organization, which actually left him excruciating physical pain and nursing even deeper psychological scars, Mr. Thompson remained undeterred and resolute in the fight for righteousness. Indeed, he is such an amazing leader.
Deputy President Thompson survived an attack by armed men at Umhlanga. Well, the union says the attack was an assassination attempt.
It's believed the incident happened just before Thompson crossed the traffic light at the off-ramp from the N2 highway towards Umhlanga. It's claimed that he was shot at by armed men in another car. According to the union, after being injured on the shoulder, Thompson sped off to a nearest hospital but was pursued by his attackers.
He abandoned the vehicle and ran to the hospital. The suspect then took a laptop and an undisclosed amount of cash before fleeing the scene in their getaway vehicle. And charges of armed robbery as well as attempted murder were open for investigation at Durban North.
Evidence of a bullet which hit the panel between the driver's window and the back passenger window can be seen in Thompson's car. The union believes the attack on Thompson was an orchestrated hit. It said the laptop contained documents of a forensic investigation into the Department of Education in the province.
We have to suspect some things. We're dealing with some serious problems of corruption. One may call them allegations, but yes, that's what we're dealing with.
The union says it will beef up security for all its executive members. Thompson is recuperating in hospital.
And this obviously we understand has come at a personal cost for you, having to walk around with bodyguards. Can you just quickly take us through that?
Well, the unfortunate thing, which we are still waiting again for the Minister of Police, Ubabu Pegitele, to give us a report. We cannot link that necessarily it was directly linked to the issue of sanitary towels. It's what people are saying, and we've raised that even with the department to say this is what people are saying. But we are still waiting for the team of investigators that Minister Pegitele promised the National Teachers Union that he was going to put in place. Up to now, nothing has been made in terms of a breakthrough, getting people who are responsible for me to be shot at that particular time. But we are still waiting for progress report from those that are investigating the matter.
After that, he continued to serve his members. He continued to fight for the rights of these members of the National Teachers Union, and all the employees in the education sector. Mr. Thompson was elected to the NATU presidency on the 5th of September 2018. This was during the union's centenary celebration and the elective conference. He took over from Mr. Siposetu L. Ngobo, who retired as the long-serving NATU president after serving for about 18 years in the position. Mr. Thompson ascended to the presidency on the ticket of growing NATU membership, expanding the NATU footprints to all the provinces, taking over from the work which had already been done by the immediate past president. To further consolidate and strengthening NATU's business arm, strengthening NATU members' professionalism through the ongoing professional development, improving the conditions of services, especially the classroom-based and socio-economic, and also benefits of the members. The conference took a resolution to improve the members' benefits. Looking at Mr. Thompson's attributes, there are three major attributes that stands out. One of them is the passion, the professionalism, loyalty, and the rare fusion of leadership qualities. Mr. Thompson had a rare combination of leadership qualities. Indeed, he was a great leader. Great leaders set forth a vision and live up to it. They communicate their vision, goals with clarity, and inspire their teams to meet them. There is always an alignment between what they say and what they do, because Sir Thompson was such a person. Best leaders are forward-looking, they are competent, intelligent, and broad-minded. That's Mr. Thompson. Effective leaders model good human qualities for people who work for and with them. Typical such qualities include honesty, they include fairness, straightforwardness. When you think of Mr. Thompson, you can never think of other word. He was such an independent thinker. Leaders are dependable. Some of the qualities is cooperativeness, determination, imagination, ambition, courage. He was a man of strong courage. One of the qualities is caring, maturity, loyalty. I've already alluded on that one. Self-control and independence. These leaders, they care for and about the people who work for them. They delegate responsibilities to them and support them in what they do. They praise publicly, and when necessary, they criticize and reprimand in private. Indeed, as we are gathered here today, one understands and believes that it is very rare to find all these attributes in one person, but only Mr. S.A. Thompson had all of these qualities. Mr. Thompson had many achievements within a very short space of time. You know, there were many, but we shall only look at the achievements that he had actually gained at the time when he was a member of the Central Executive Board. For many of his achievements, efforts, his purpose was to improve the lives and the livelihoods of NATU members. We have only chosen to talk about a few. One of the achievements is to advocate the rights or the workers' rights and improved employment conditions.
We have tried everything possible in our power to negotiate and talk sense to the department, and we have reached a stage of no return. If these educators are also not getting the money they deserve to get, if these educators are not getting salary adjustment for 2018-2019, on the first day of May, on the Workers' Day, we'll embark on a lawful strike action.
We are saying today, the main reason why we've decided to go to the police department, to the traffic department, to seek for the permission to come here is very simple. We are very tired of people who want to put themselves before the interest of the learners, before the interest of the teachers in this country. The abundant system which the Department of Education is seeking to use of dividing workers with the intention of ruling is not going to succeed. When the teachers of grade are suffering, we are also suffering as teachers. When the teachers in the primary school are suffering, also those who are in the high school are also suffering. When the Department of Education decides to take more than 120 million and go and buy sanitary towels of the lowest standard to the lowest quality, we are not going to support that. The Department is failing to recognize the importance of employing teachers in each and every school. We won't come to the legislature and keep quiet. When the department officials want to use the learner transport for their own campaigns, when they want to use the school nutrition for their own campaigns, we are not going to keep quiet and pretend as if we are blind.
NATU as an organization, of course, through the leadership of the immediate past president and also Mr. Thompson at the forefront, fought so much in terms of ensuring that the conditions of services for the grade R practitioners are improved. And indeed, a huge progress has been made in this matter up to so far. Mr. Thompson was a member of the GPF board, the Government Employee Pension Fund. Working together with some of the members of the board, they work so hard in ensuring that the child pension benefits are improved. He contributed immensely towards the Public Service Coordinating Bargaining Council, the PSCBC Resolution 1 of 2017. Mr. Thompson was at the forefront in the notion of the government employees accessing a portion of their retirement. In 2015, there was a petition. The purpose of this petition was to try and reach out to the entire public and to get their signatures, but it was received by an overwhelming support.
A matter which seems to be stuck somewhere in the system. It's a matter which has to do with making an allowance for workers to have access to a percentage of their retirement funds in these times of difficulty. It's a matter that has been discussed at NEDLEC ad nauseum, and I am now determined more than ever before to ensure that the officials in the National Treasury and other relevant officials speed up this matter. A portion of their retirement fund workers should be able to access in these difficult times, maybe to finish off their bond repayments, maybe to sort out whatever debt positions they might be in.
School safety was one of the late president's priority. Whenever he's on the platform talking about critical education issues and challenges, he would always touch on the issue of the school safety.
Schools, in fact, are being targeted by the criminals. They want to come to schools and rob the teachers and do everything in their power just to make teachers vulnerable. And our worry is that something major needs to be done in terms of trying to improve the securities in schools. Yes, we know in that particular school, everything has been done just to try to upgrade the security, but we have been saying we need also to add the metal detectors so that at least anyone that comes to the school environment, we are able to detect whether that person is armed or not. It's not only teachers that are at risk, but also the learners are at risk. So that is why we also encourage the police patrol or a visible policing.
Mr. Thompson had a tremendous influence in terms of issues. Some of the issues are the issues of the Education Labor Relation Council, like for instance, the issue of the equalization of pay progression. You would understand that those who are office-based and members of the support staff were entitled to 1.5% of pay progression, whilst those who were doing the integrated quality management system, the IQMS, were only receiving 1% in terms of pay progression. So there was a huge gap. His influence and his direction as a leader, because he was amongst those who were at the forefront in terms of fighting for the rights of the employees. Indeed, it has borne a good fruit. Like, for instance, now at the moment, all the public servants are entitled for the 1.5% pay progression.
Remember, in the public service, teachers are the less paid public servants. Their pay progression every year is less compared to all other public servants with 0.5%. And that thing has been there since 2008. And that resulted into teachers being disgruntled in terms of continuing with the annual national assessment.
One issue that we will talk about is the issue of subsidies for dependents. You know, the dependence of the government employees in attending tertiary education. Mr. Thompson's fight for teachers and public service workers, you know, generally to be classified as belonging to the missing middle, so that the dependents qualify for tertiary education subsidies, in one other, it's one of the issues that remains unfinished.
We are making a call to the Department of Education that all children of the public servants, especially those who are working in the Department of Education, they must be exempted from paying tuition fee. They must get some waiver in as far as the payment of the boarding fee or any other tertiary institution fees that are supposed to be paid.
The issue of the resolutions of the conference of 2018, of course, in line with one of the resolution of the 2018 National Conference, the Central Executive Board, led by the late President, Mr. Thompson, secured, what we would call a death benefit, which is for all the members of NATU and their immediate families. This was something that is so divine. And you look at the timing of this scheme, it was as if the board and the members of the conference, the councillors and the leaders, it seems as if they actually knew that at some point we would be confronted with COVID-19. Sadly, in March 2020, when our country's shores were visited by this COVID pandemic, not like any other organization in the country, we have actually suffered a great in terms of losing human life. However, by this time, the NATU death benefit was already up and running, and it actually assisted a considerable number of members and their families. They have received financial support during this difficult time, and they were then laid to rest, in a very dignified way.
A touching candle lighting ceremony to honor the memory of the teachers who died due to COVID-19. Many were also forced to teach remotely because of underlying conditions or age. The union says the pandemic and these challenges have exposed the problem of overcrowding in schools.
Teachers in South Africa deserve to have an official holiday. Those are the issues that we'll be raising with the National Minister today. We will be raising issues of safety in schools. We'll be raising issues of underemployment that is happening in the system of education, which resulted into the overcrowded classes. And COVID-19 is telling us that we can no longer afford to have overcrowded classes.
During the start of this pandemic, the COVID-19, as a sector, as a department, were exposed because one of the protocols required that there should be social distancing and there should be adherence to the non-pharmaceutical intervention and many things that we were supposed to do in ensuring that this issue of COVID-19, the spread is minimized, and in our schools, the teaching and learning can continue without any hindrances and without any problems. But it was always very difficult. Therefore, Mr. Thompson was very much vocal in terms of all these challenges that we have in the system. Challenges of infrastructure, challenges such as the appointment of educators, enough educators in terms of ensuring that there's a teacher in each and every classroom.
Very good afternoon to you, Dada. So from the level of engagement with your members, what is it that they're telling you about their state of readiness?
Well, thank you very much and good afternoon. I think it's very important to indicate that the Republic of South Africa must accept that we are in a very difficult period of COVID-19. As a result, the education system will never be the same, simply because of a limited number of days that we have to interact with learners, preparing them for examination. Now, coming back to your question, I think the teachers have done everything possible, except that we could only have wished for an extension of the teaching time. But unfortunately, we know that also the Department of Higher Education and training. It's also under pressure to receive the students, especially those that are doing matric. But teachers have done everything possible in their power. Today they are still teaching. Schools are supposed to be closed in the Republic of South Africa, but we've seen teachers teaching almost each and every day. We've seen them making arrangements for morning classes, afternoon classes, and some are very excited that they are being put under pressure and they will have to produce results under these circumstances. They are very proud to serve the Republic of South Africa. However, they are worried that what will be the response of the learners. Hence, today we also want to make an appeal as the National Teachers Union to all the parents that teaching and learning is not the responsibility only of teachers and learners, but we also need support of parents to give the learners enough time to prepare for examination and perhaps exempt them from doing some of the works that are supposed to be done at home.
Nobody would have thought that we would be confronted with COVID. None of us would have predicted the situation that we happen to find ourselves in. Therefore, it was necessary for us to say, for us to deal with the issue of COVID-19, there should be an improvement in terms of infrastructure. Each and every institution must have adequate infrastructure in terms of physical infrastructure, classrooms, enough classrooms, ablution facilities, water and sanitation. He spoke about these issues. He was very vocal about these issues because he was very concerned about the future of education system and the education of an African child. Unfortunately, while Mr. Thompson was still pushing ahead to fulfill his objectives and the mandate he was given at the conference, 2018 National Elective Conference, his life sadly curtailed by a heavy bout of novel coronavirus 2019, to which he succumbed during the night of the 3rd of January 2021 at the age of 45. May his soul rest in peace eternally.
The people that we respect, whom were voted in this province, to be able to deliver to the expectation of the people of this province of KwaZulu-Natal, decides to disrespect our presence here.
We've got teachers that have never been paid for the last 8 months. We've got those that have served the department until the end of the year, but they were terminated unlawfully, and the department refused to employ their replacement. We've got some who were on the maternity leave since November, beginning of the year. Principals were not allowed to do a replacement of those. There is crisis.
Then the question is, who's responsible for the supervision of teachers? The office-based educators who are paid double the salary of teachers who are in the classroom. Somebody is not doing their work somewhere. Who's not doing their work? The person who's supposed to supervise the principals of schools. Who's that? Those are the circuit managers, the district managers. Those are the ones who are supposed to make sure that all educators are at school at time, prepared for the lesson and teaching. It's their responsibility. Our responsibility as a trade union is to make sure that if there is a violation of rights of workers, we represent them, is to encourage teachers to go and teach in the classroom.
Mr. Thompson always believed that the greatest leaders were the sincerest servants who served from their hearts. Indeed, not only did he submit himself to the service of others, but also in equal measure to service of God. He knew that serving fellow men and women was a service to God, the Almighty. As things are, we shall never know the heights to which he would have taken the union he had lived. He was the first NATU President to pass away while in office. Therefore, the 3rd of January 2021 will go down in the history and the annals of NATU as a very sad day indeed. For the Union, the year 2021 will always be looked upon as an annus horribilis. Let us end this memorial with the words that he said to first meeting of the Central Executive Board held on the 17th of September 2018. following his election as NATU President at 2018 National Elective Conference. I quote, "We won't play politics with the long-term future of our children and our country. We will work to get it right. I want us to change because through its education system, this country faces huge challenges. There are not challenges you can put in individual boxes. They are complex. They are interconnected. To deal with them takes hard work, complex research, deep thinking, and I want us, the 2018 to 2022 Central Executive Board, to get it right. Our schools are reported to be completely unsafe. I want this Central Executive Board to pledge to the education stakeholders that NATU will do everything possible in her power and will use every trick in the book to ensure that our schools are safe again and that safety of teachers and learners and their dignity will be our priority. This means re-civilizing our society with school discipline, with strong families, with responsible single parenthood, and the culture of change. Ibambele phezulu. Siyabonga kakhulu. We're going to move to the other items. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Now we are moving to item 10. So I'm going to read the profile of our minister. Angelina Matsiye Motse was born in Pimville, Soweto, where she first became very active in various activities in the struggle against apartheid. She holds a BA education, BEd from the University of the North, and master's degree in education from the Wits University. She has published and conducted research in education, women's development, and language studies. Mutseha has had extensive involvement in education struggles and experience in education policy development. Her experience as an educator includes teaching at Soweto Orlando High, I'm sorry about it, and lecturing at the Soweto College of Education and Wits University. She also founded and served on various boards focusing on education and women's development. She was working as a convener for gender in the Office of the President, proceeded to work as the trainer in the development of public service and administration. She was elected a member of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature in 1999 and was appointed chairperson of the Standing Committee of Education. She was appointed as MEC for Social Development in 2000 and in April 2004 as MEC for Education till 2009. She joined Parliament on the 6th May 2009 and was appointed as Cabinet Member of the basic education on the 11th May 2009. After 2014 national election, she was reappointed as the cabinet member of basic education in May 2014. After the 2019 national elections, she was reappointed as a cabinet member of basic education in June 2019 for the third time. She has served for ANC and ANC Women's League in different positions at different levels over a long period. She was the national president of the ANC Women's League from 2008 till 2015. She is currently a member of the ANC National Executive Committee and the ANC National Working Committee. Right now, I will call the Honorable Minister of Basic Education, Mrs. M.A. Motshekga.
How Tola, let me say, Tola Minister, Tola, Tola, Olale Luna To, his city Tola Minister, Tola, 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 Olale Luna To, his city Tola Minister, Tola, 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 Olale Luna To.
Ngiyafisa ngempela ukuthula. Ngathi ngingakhulumi umoya wami uphansi kakhulu, so program director mawufuna ukungikhulula ngizobonga. So program director, let me acknowledge the leadership of NATU, acknowledge the Secretary General, the acting president, former president, the vice presidents of NATU, and the entire executive of NATU. Let me also acknowledge the mayor in absentia, ngibingelele ngokuthi sithoba okukhulu mfundisi nangenhlonipho ngiyabingelela. Also acknowledge the leadership collective of NATU, the membership that is here, the fraternal organizations that were mentioned here, and want to say genuinely, program director, ngiyafisa ngempela ukuthula. I want to take this opportunity to thank the leadership of NATU for really organizing this occasion in honor of one of the best South African that this country has produced. I feel indeed privileged and also thankful that this memorial almost comes a year after, because when Alan passed on, I was equally on a sick bed for COVID-19. I was actually on oxygen when I saw that he's passed on. And I remember the pain I felt, because in all essence, COVID ibidlala kithi thina abadala nithi. Ibidlala la kithi.
Because when Thompson was born, I was first year at university when he was born. So a really young soul indeed, and I just felt so shaken and so pained by his passing. So indeed, it is a privilege, and I am humbled to speak at this memorial service, though his death is still surreal. Because as we all know, he was a great person, a great patriot. And I do feel privileged to have this opportunity to speak and celebrate this great soul, very strong person. Ebengasabi Thompson. Bekutshela nje indaba futhi ayibeke ngokuzithoba ngokuhlonipha kodwa ayibeke yona indaba. Uzosala nayo wena kodwa ayibekile. He was very forthright, but simply smart. He was also a very smart young person. And I want to thank Babungo because when I came to interact, Thompson's also in your company. And I can never forget the meetings, even when he will phone Administrator Stakeholder and Babungo, then he asked, "Way." But one thing for sure, you knew you were going to go for a good fight. He was robust, he was fearless, very organized, very forthright, but also very respectful, very good person that after Louis and Abanang, you are not in Nizolo Konupanya. And I also sabu kuluma into Fanta Ibe. Now, I'm president at the time, Babungo, and I ain't a Lula, you'll be roasted when you go to a meeting with them. But what was always very helpful in interacting with them, you knew after a meeting you would have gone to another level in the furtherance of the things that you can do. Because when you met them, you know what the real issues are. Not petty, equally to me shining about today, which is what we do every day. I want them to be meeting, but I am together. But when you met with them, you knew they were very factual, they'd always come prepared, very systematic, very brave, very forthright, but they do it with so much dignity, with so much respect, with so much great demeanor that you had no excuse but to respect and really accept the things that you were on about. And there are a number of incidents that I could have mentioned, even to add to what you contained also in your brief around him. But one of the difficult periods was when we were going through Anna. And you just knew it. And I was really convinced that there is no way we can only assess kids when they go to grade 12, as far as it's early. And in my mind, I was clear with learning from Fela. But after meeting them with Babungomo, really talking educational, talking systems, being factual, I had no choice but to share and go to say, nothing more. And I'm sure officials they actually help. We have a son and a Baba too. But it's because they were really factual and systematic and honest. So indeed we are gathered here today to mourn, not to mourn so much, because as I said, Mama, I cried with you when Thompson passed on. I really cried. I just felt, what a loss. What a loss. But I think we are here to celebrate a life well lived in the service of humanity. because his memorial service gives us an opportunity as a nation to reflect on his contribution to the national cause and also the role he played in improving basic education. But it's also an opportunity for us to thank him for his warmth, because he was indeed warm, his strength of character. That's why I say he was fearless. Futhi was kodwa ke akho uzathi into emafanele ikhulunywe iyakhulunywa nje. Futhi ayikho into exabanisayo lapho, iyakhulunywa nje kufanele ikhulunywe. But he also had so much wisdom. And I've already had an opportunity to have a number of meetings, either as teacher unions together or in sessions in parallel, to really raise issues that he believed in, which he felt had to be dealt with in the sector. And I agree with his depiction that he was indeed a dependable ally. Because what was good about him, what you saw is what you got. Bingathi mawuhamba naye uphinde ukalazi ukuthi hey ngoba usesela lesikhona na awuqalazi uyazi nila manje, then you have to go elsewhere. You didn't have to look over your shoulder. He was a very dependable ally. But he was also a very formidable teacher, a unionist who impacted lives, and many lives indeed, with the work that we did with him, that we did through your union. And I really want to start off by passing our gratitude to his family for lending us their most dedicated son who served with honor and integrity. Mama Thompson, Thompson, thank you very much for having shared your father with us, his brother, and his wife. And I'll share this with you, Babu Nobo. The first time when I saw Thompson's wife, I said, hey, should you see us now, your own Indonesians? No, I want to take it seriously. And Jobe was penning the young kid down, he blushed, and I just saw that the young man is in love. So and then I'm we really, I think all of us were privileged to have shared with you this great son. And I really want to appeal to Thompson's children. I think we are children in your own rights. You're not Thompson, so we're not supposed to put pressures on you to say fun and night. You're individual children, you have the right to be what you want to be. But I beg of you to always remember to be and try to be the best you can be in life. These are my products. And this is what I left the world for. We're not putting pressure, but we say, and he was a scholar and a patriot who served the country and as our sectors in particular with distinction. He was one of the most outstanding teachers and exceptional unionists of his generation. Because I sit in all meetings, abantu abangakhulumanga uzoba khona ngithisha nami. Intana mangakhulumi yamkhomba, ukuthi hayikhuluma sibanibani. Naye bengimkhomba ngithi hayiphendula Thompson because mangakhuluma uyazi ayiphendulanga indaba. Fanele azakhuluma. And amayikhulumi nanto ayikhulumile uyazi sakwenye level, so makakhuluma angathuli enhlanganisweni. He really was an exceptional unionist of his generation. Because although he died at his prime, he had already given himself to serve this country. And sometimes we sometimes don't see things that God gives to us because the speed at which he did great things for me reveals that ebengafani nathi kufanele aqede 8 years uqede umsebenzi we-20 years. Nge-45 years uqede wonke umsebenzi lefathi ngabe wenzi. So although he died at the prime of his life, but he really lived a full life. He lived a full life. He lived a great life. He was not, in addition to Babu, that he was not a flower that perished unseen. He blossomed, and we enjoyed the fragrance of his work. And I really want to thank you, the leadership of NATU, to say, indeed, we saw this diamond, polished it, allowed it to shine, and we all enjoyed his glow. You gave him space, you allowed him to blossom, and we all benefited from this beautiful flower that even as NATU you nurtured, because we saw it ngabanye through NATU. So siyanibonga ngempela ngale mbali eniye you allowed it to blossom. Okay, thank you very much for really having contributed in his growth. Because he was a rising star, destined for nothing else but greatness. But from his work, I really want to say, at the age of 45, he had done and achieved what very few can achieve in life. And I say it's also NATU that gave him the space and gave him the opportunity and allowed him to flourish. And I think that's what we should continue also with our young people, that we give them space, we allow them to flourish, and allow them to contribute as much as they can. Alan emptied himself to the well-being of teachers. He touched some people in their difficult spaces. Angithembe namhlanje sizozwana obokungalizwana kodwa ke manihlukana anisizitha manihlukana ukhona umehluko abazabe bewulethile ubungekho before this. As I said, he was fearless. Sometimes his colleagues would say from him, I remember when there was copying acting president, there was a copying scandal, and it gave me such a big headache last year. And almost everybody was saying there must be rewriting. And I just said, don't rewrite on abandoned, but singabas not bangay. What if see you are not going to certify your results if I rewrite? According to years, you have to say you must rewrite. And going forward up to the end, and I suspect that you about voted abandoned by the court to die. The meeting and we in court and prove them right. We were forced not to get a rewrite. And that's Alan for you. He was fearless and didn't mind to stand alone. Despite a number of setbacks, especially after the assassination attempt, I thought he was going to be scared, but he never backed on his views. So saying he was affable but forthright, and through him we observed the most remarkable trait of leadership. He was sometimes very impatient with the pace in which we were working as a sector. He criticized our service delivery record in basic education because he really wanted more for the children of South Africa. He always spoke on behalf of the marginalized with real passion in order to extract better bargain for them, not himself. I know he hated most our snail pace of implementation, and he sometimes used to throw his hands in the air to say, I'm a second couldn't do it. Manje i-report. Asingabe siphinda-phinde bese sixoxa savumelana ngayo. And I knew all the time that his criticism always came from a good place. A place of love, a place of respect, a place of caring, but also with so much integrity and dignity that even his battles became a very useful exercise to take us forward. And I know all the time he meant well. When I addressed the celebration in 2020, I did point out that teacher union movement is amongst the most critical partner in the basic education sector. And especially if unions deploy the best amongst themselves. But it's best when teacher unions give you the best, because they are such a critical player that most of our successes, it's because of the fact that they represent you. They know exactly what is happening where. Even when I was opening schools, acting president, they would Fagama research entering a school in a state of readiness. They don't need researchers, I didn't call you. You have information, you all get things and then just saying you head in a research, I call it to happen. Now, and it really used to be helpful to me so that no one can cheat us. And that's why teacher unions are very important, because they represent the people in the sector. Because basically the sector is on the shoulders of teachers. I always tell my officials at national and province, we can close doors, say, no one is going to miss us. As long as I don't see financing ideas. But if teachers bangavala, tuti uvaliwe la ekhaya, because yonke into esingayo isezandleni zabo. So for us, teacher unions are key, and working with them, indeed fighting with them, agreeing with them, is the best thing that can happen. And I do feel that we were robbed as a nation and robbed as a sector. But I also feel I missed the opportunity. I did miss an opportunity. I feel that I could have told him in our interactions how much I appreciated him, how much I appreciated his energy, how much I appreciated his brains, how much I appreciated his attitude, and how much I appreciated the gifts that he brought also to the party. And indeed, when you interact with people, you just smile with, what a great person, and you never take that opportunity to say, what a great person this is. And I really feel, I wish I could have told him. I should also have added that the leadership of people like him, who chats nicely with you, but with respect, with dignity, with integrity, but with a firmness that he brought, made a huge difference. Even when I came, and I was quite privileged, and I must thank your organization, NATU Leadership. Because we as Agahambe Moyen is with people, used to invite me to your events, and that's why even when there was a sitting of parliament, I said, since we better with TV, I must go and then say to Alan's family, to his children, to his family, to his wife that I really knew him really like "Uma ngikhuluma ngababhlasha angakwazi zobe ziphendula zonke yona bebengakwazi ukuyiphendula." But even to NATU, to thank him most sincerely for this great son that he nurtured. At least I would say to him that as a sector, we could have faced much more difficulties without the strong leadership that we got from yourselves, especially also during the COVID-19 pandemic. We could have faced an implosion. And I do say that we need to recognize our heroes while they're still working amongst us. And that's why I say, I'm sorry I didn't say those things to him. I just saw this smart young person, smart leader, and I just felt, what a wonderful person. But I wish I could have told him how great he was. And I think in his honor, we must redouble our efforts to re-energize our sector post-COVID-19 disruptions in his honor. I'm sure he would have brought immense energy now that we are going back to school. So he's not complaining, he's not raising problems without raising solutions to say, and I think in his honor, we really have to redouble our effort. We need to recognize the heroes that are amongst us. As I say, we must redouble our efforts. We must accelerate basic education reforms and implement the resolutions that came from the stakeholders this year. We must remain steadfast in our belief that basic education holds a key to better life for all. Better earnings, better health outcomes, and faster economic growth. We hold the key to the future of our people, our children, and this country. That's how important we are as a sector. And in his honor, we must remain steadfast in that belief. We must harness our relationships as organized labor in the teaching profession to recognize that organized labor and teacher unions are an indispensable actor in any future of this country, especially in our education system. But we must also go on to acknowledge the undying commitment of Alan and NATU teachers to the national cause of educating our learners, often under very difficult environments. We must commit, and I say I've already commended yourself as the leadership for having produced the likes of Alan, but I was saying, President and leadership here now, to send Kato Alan some of the things I thought about you. I really want to say to NATU, and NATU Stakeholder, you are such a dignified organization. You are such a formidable organization, very professional, very focused, but also, we have time to reflect. And as such an organization that you look back and say, in all this confusion, something good is happening elsewhere. And this is what you represent. And for that, I really wish you well. I know you're going to a conference in October. This is fine. Stability, peace, professionalism, organized. You said I'm no longer sectoral. I could be the NWC member of ANC, but also and peace, progress, and appreciate good things. And I must say, even your former president, I was saying to both of them, I'm sure now there's the parliament, hayi ngisebenzile ngishiya into ethulile. So siyabonga. In our collective efforts to set our country on a new path of growth, employment and transformation, we need a vibrant basic education sector that is led by the likes of Alan. In his memory, we must work harder to realize the ideal of a much improved basic education with better learning outcomes and solid care and support for the vulnerable learners. As we have come to know, the path to faster economic growth begins with our learners having access to early learning foundations. So as we relaunch the early childhood development in April, we again need yourselves as organized labor, as teacher unions, to partner with us in this national endeavor. La konibaka sizende aikala means asitsona. NATU say national, but about the it's not correct. Yeah, so, and I'm very proud that we've also got we have representation all over the country. And I think, as I said, in his memory, we have to work harder. We know that we have to move the path quicker. We rely on it to support, but it's going to be a difficult endeavor. The migration of PCD. I don't take it lightly. It's going to be a difficult endeavor. We've been consulting internationally, went to Seychelles, Finland. Seychelles says it took them a solid 10 years to consolidate their ECD. And in Seychelles, is so way together as a country. Helpful. Food is bigger than Seychelles. One of your townships, I don't know, but it's a small country, but it took them 10 years to consolidate. So for this endeavor, we need a battalion of men and women such as Alan, women and men of stature, to usher a new epoch of professionalism and dedication to early learning. We need to move with the requisite speed to introduce our learners to rigorous skills for the future, which I am definitely sure President, Acting President, and your colleagues are committed to. I've always said teachers are critical agents of change and will remain a guiding light for the nation in its quest for much improved quality of public schooling. Because I found that our unions are not only about the rights of teachers and just salaries of teachers, but they've become such a huge, helpful agent in contributing towards the quality of learning and teaching. And for that, as government, we're very grateful. It has been empirically proven that countries that invest and value professionalism in teaching in particular and public schooling in general have a greater chance to unlock economic bottlenecks in the whole economic value chain. Our economic recovery plan recognizes that to support a rapid economic rebound, we need to accelerate the reforms in basic education in particular and all the skills that we need to impart. And we thank Alan and yourselves and his cohort of teachers for unrelenting efforts and sacrifices to better the lives of our learners. We acknowledge your dedication and selfless services to the betterment of society through deepening the foundations of our democracy, through teaching the values of freedom, of liberty and peace. As the nation, as we emerge from COVID-19, nightmare in particular, it really robbed us some of the best amongst us. It robbed us a great leader, a president of a union. It robbed us heads of department, one of the best head of department we had in the Eastern Cape. It robbed us an MEC in the Northern Cape. But it robbed us more than 3,000 teachers. More than 3,000 teachers. So indeed, we come wounded from COVID-19. So the extent to which we recover as a sector, we know it can't exceed the commitment and the innovation of our teachers. As government, we want to commit ourselves to continuously work with our teachers to develop whatever skills that we require. I really want to support or echo what your deputy president has said, that with humility we are appealing to people. Please go and vaccinate. Isandla ngesileft ne-IT akufuna into eziningi. Iyo nje into ecelwayo. Because we'll get the stability we seem now to be getting and not losing the best amongst ourselves. I also have teenagers who sometimes argue with i-penicillin yona inani phakathi wayibuza nje ngathi sokhona okwaziyo ngemedicine. Ambojova wena laba abazaziyo bathi right, bathembe nje ukubathemba nange-penicillin ngayo yonke into. Nabekho amapilisi bekuliphana awukuthi ufakweni le ithathwe lephakathi uyaphuza nje kuphole inhloko. So siyacela futhi abangakajovi nothatha ngebooster. Those that have gone, they will tell you, you even become stronger than before even ujove le-COVID. Ikupha amandla nje general, yakubooster nje. So abantu nothatha amandla kubooster ngiyacela futhi. Because as a sector, we cannot ill afford to lose teachers because they are our frontline soldiers in the war against poverty. We need our teachers to be healthy and fit to accelerate basic education. And finally, as I say, I really appeal that now that we've have requested that kids must go back to school, let's strengthen all the necessary protocols. Let's ensure that as many people are vaccinated. Let's appeal to parents to really support their children to go and vaccinate, because okokuqala yithi besithelelana ngale COVID. Manje kuzoza abantwana baze beyithwele bayilethe ngakithi. So even for our safety, we really want to encourage parents to get their kids to vaccinate. And in his memory, because we should, and I think it should inspire us more, that his death should mobilize us to prevent any other person from contracting this deadly disease. So let us do everything humanly possible to prevent more deaths, more hospitalizations, and more infections. May the talented, gentle soul of Alan continue to rest in peace. And again, to the leadership, I want to thank you for a day well spent. I really felt it was a very good day. I'm energized, I'm very humbled, and I'm very grateful for the invitation, and very grateful for the opportunity to share this beautiful day to celebrate one of the greatest sons of this country. Thank you very much.
Let's shine the minister. Thank you very much. The one minister, the minister told in the scarf, you know. All the staff was minister up and over. And I think says again, Vice President, Minister, Minister, Mama, way to Labanat. Every time when we have a gathering, she will put everything aside to come and join us. And we appreciate it. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Well, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we have only about 3 items now left on our program. Then we're going to try and push. Let us welcome the immediate past president of the National Teachers Union, who's going to speak on behalf of the previous Central Executive Board. Let us all welcome him. Ithi nje diyapholoma.
Ithi nje diyapholoma.
Ithi nje diyapholoma.
Ithi nje diyapholoma. Amangazi ukuthi bano. Ithi nje diyapholoma. Ithi nje diyapholoma. Ithi nje diyapholoma. Amangazi ukuthi bano phalele ncwa. Ithi nje diyapholoma.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, I'm not proposing a vote of thanks, but I do want to say NATU is very grateful to have you. I remember the days when you started with this career, the part of being the Minister for the Department of Education, basic. Whenever we wanted you amongst us, you made sure that you come, regardless of the cost. Yazi kodwa into eniyenzayo, you know, even before I greet, it's painful. No, sekudlulile. Kodwa manje kusuke bese ngathi kufuna sifuna ukukhumbula. I remember that day very well, Honorable Minister, in the morning. When I was told, I phoned, I don't remember whom, in the office, and I said, I'm coming. Call all the members of the Central Executive Board, and I drove to the office. I don't know why, but something in my mind, said, it's my children, they will not be able to take it properly. And I preferred to go and tell them myself. And by the time I arrived there, because it had not been announced, I found that some had not heard. And that was a very difficult moment. I found them by the door, the vice presidents. Mama Thompson, sithanda kakhulu. NATU. No, it's fine. Ngeke ningeze lutho ngoba ayikho nami into engingayenza. It's the best thing I know. So I will always be calling myself NATU. You can't take it out. Minister, you praising this organization. I want to say to your colleagues what the minister was saying. She was very honest. on calling you a professional organization. I knew that, I knew it, but when I left the organization and I started looking at NATU from a different angle, it was as if I was beginning to know you more than I did before. So, as the minister says, you are a professional organization, believe in that, you are. And another thing, Minister, is maybe NATU doesn't know how strong an organization they are, regardless of the numbers. Like the Minister was saying things about the meetings, the contributions that used to come from the organization. That actually says UNATU is there to live, and who knows, NATU may save this country. Honorable President and the members of the Central Executive Board, all former presidents of NATU that are present here today. Hey, by the way, I am the only former president of NATU alive. Into enkosi. Minister of Basic Education, the Honorable A.J. Motsaha, teacher unions who might have been able to grace this occasion. The CEO of SACE, if she did come, the mayor of His Worship, the mayor of Newcastle, I think he has left. His Worship Councillor Dube, DX Dube. Leaders of NATU from the regions and from the branches and all members of the organization, all the members coming from the branches, and all the members of the staff of NATU, men and women of media, invited guests. That they were to Shengi, Makuma. Thank you very much for being a pillar to this organization. You always surprised me because you always wanted to be in the background. I worked very hard to try and drag you, and you did not want to do that. You always wanted to remain at the background, and yet you contributed so much to the organization through being with Mr. Thompson, through making sure that Thompson got everything that he needed to get, through making sure that you prepared everything for him every morning. And mind you, we could cause problems because there are days when we would leave the office very late, maybe by 10. That is what we used to do with Mr. Thompson. We would sit in my office. He would come at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He would come to my office. We would sit together. We would begin and brainstorm about where the organization had to be taken to. That is where we got all the wisdom of taking the organization forward. Because they had to remain in the office If we were to leave by 9, they would be leaving at that time too. If we were to leave by 10, because it did happen, they were to leave by that time too. With us talking, and the following morning, Thompson would come with a document. A document which he would have compiled out of our deliberations, out of our discussions. He would come with a document. Hey, Mr. President, here is what I was able to do out of our discussions. An amazing man, indeed. I will not belong. No, I will not belong this time. I will surprise. I want to start by saying this, Kumamu Thompson. Thompson. And everybody present here today who has in one way or the other been affected by this disease. I have something to say, and I will read it. James, it's a book in the Bible. James wrote to the believers, and I quote, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing." Let me say it again. James wrote, he was writing to the believers. It is said, and I quote, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing." You want to be complete? Persevere. You want to be pure and be complete and lack nothing? Persevere. Learn that. It is tough out there, though it's not easy. Honorable Minister, I wish you had told me one day that politics was a difficult terrain, a difficult path to take. Anyway, I never wanted to be a politician. The minister would recall that I would sometimes say, I would never be a politician. I don't like politicians because you cannot trust them. I don't believe in them. I don't trust them, but I do listen to what they say. That's what I used to say. Lest it, I know that I would find myself where I am today. Angikhethanga. I will skip what is not necessary for me to go through, because a lot has been said about that, about how we miss people because of this pandemic. But let me say it again, let us persevere. In the midst of feeling sorrow for people who are no longer with us, we should also take comfort in the gifts they gave us whilst they were here. Let us take comfort in them. Let us take comfort in those gifts. Indeed, Skhumbuzo Allen Thompson was one person who used his gifts to better the lives of the people. My heart is filled. My heart is filled. Listening to people speak about how Thompson impacted their lives and the deep personal connection that people felt with him has been an overwhelming emotional experience. My heart is filled with gratitude for the time I have spent with him leading NATU, the whole NATU family, the leaders, the members, and the staff, who in many ways, Thompson's loss was just a grade for them as it was for the family. Honorable Minister, thank you very much for coming, because you have made this day different. You have graced us with your presence, but much more because of what you have just said. To all the people who have come here to celebrate the memory of my dear friend, it will always be an honor. Painful though to speak on Thompson's life journey. Actually, I wouldn't have liked to go there. And I know how he was able to do that. He did it to me. When he was addressing the masses, he would, somewhere in the middle of his address, say, "Let me take you down the memory lane," and then begin to remind members how we had lived our lives. I am very lucky. I am fortunate one, because I'm still alive. I heard him telling people, telling myself, telling everybody how we had lived our lives. People, ladies and gentlemen, you will remember, you will have to recall, you will, you must, actually you must. You will recall that I used to stand in the podium to address members. And whilst addressing members, I would always say, we have leaders here. We already have people who will be presidents here. One of them is just next to me. Before he became a president, I said, here is your president. And then immediately changed and said, no, not now. I am the president. Those are the things. It was so nice. Beautiful life I spent with that man. A hard-working man. Very hard-working. He would surprise you. Wage wahamba isikhathi eside faka ama-drink lawa ngazi ukuthi kuyini lama-booster drinks lawa. Khona lawa enzela ukungalali, because he was able to drive from Johannesburg, abuye eze edlule eNewcastle and come to Bangladesh if needs be. That is the type of a man I'm talking about, who would drive even from Bangladesh straight to Johannesburg edlula babingelele mhlawumbe ekhaya. But come back again the following day. Ebuya nezinto ebeyoyifuna, ebuya nezinto ebeyoyilanda. A very creative man. Very creative. I'm not surprised at what I see. I'm not surprised. This is him. This is Thompson. And I thank you very much for doing that. I thank you very much for everything you have done, the arrangements, everything. I'm looking at this photo. Because that is him. Fine, you are him. We, all of us, we are today. You know, I say to the Honorable Minister, when we were out there with the media, Minister, I don't know what they want me to say. Because if they want me to speak and say something about Alan Thompson, they must look at me. Because I am the only Thompson they know standing in front of them. Then they must look at me and be satisfied. If they want to touch me, touch Thompson, let them touch me and they'll be fulfilled. Yeah, you make me address you on my friend. On my friend. I even called him my brother. I even did that. I was able to call him my brother, my friend, my brother. Wawazi ukuthi uma ungifuna ungangitholi fonela uThompson. He will tell you where I am, or he will simply hand over the cell phone. Yes, we have fought for this education. Today, I am bragging. I'm proud of what we have been able to do. We have made a contribution in this country. I am reminded of the day when he was driving to Durban. He had bought a gift for his wife. And he was very happy, elated, when we parted ways. And I would be going to Ulundi, and he had to drive to Mpangeni first, and then to Newcastle to fetch the gift. And as he was on his way, let me start by this one. Before we parted ways, I said to him, it was during that sanitary towel saga. It was during those times. We had explosive information in our hands. Even now, Minister, that information has not been released. It couldn't be, because it is part of what was taken away from his car. It couldn't be, therefore. I was saying, we had been together, and I was looking at this document he was showing me. And then I said, look, Mr. Thompson, time has come now for you to have bodyguards. I remember very well that it was a weekend. And then I said to him, by Monday next week, I will make sure that you have bodyguards. And you know, Thompson. And you know, Thompson. I don't know. And he said, not before you have yours, Mr. President. Even the earnings, we were at the place at the level of the director, by the way. It's not a secret. Now, I fought with Mr. Thompson because he said, look, President, I cannot afford to have a president I am reporting to earning the same salary like mine. It cannot be. When he wanted to raise my salary, yes, ekugcineni we agreed. Ngathi-ke, all right, hamba uyofaka between 1 and 10 cents more, then it will be different. I don't remember what he did, but all I know is that we were not earning the same amount of money. Kodwa angikhumbuli noma wenza khona yini lokhu esasivumelene ngakho. There are things I'm not going to talk about, like professionalism, because it has been covered adequately, in particular by the Honorable Minister. But I will say something a little by this one. His quest was to improve the lives of all people, especially those disadvantaged people. You know him when he would be speaking for the great R learners. Laba bantu okungathi babukeleka phansi kakhulu at that time. You know him. Very passionate when he did that. That's why I'm saying his quest, actually, just this line, I took it from that. Mkhumbule o great R. And again, we must thank the department, and not only speak when we have to fight the department. Uma yenza kahle kufanele sibonge. Immigration minister, you find it's not going to happen overnight, but that's a giant leap. It's a giant leap for the organization. Ukuba bonke laba bantu bazizwe beothisha ndawonye. You know, sometimes we have short memories. Kodwa kade sikhunjuzwa. Nabhala ama-petitions long time ago, those petitions. Sigijima sehla senyuka nama-petitions. Sigijima sehla nama-petitions. It was tough. But where is Thompson? Aye, man. But where is Thompson to see us reaching those goals, reaping those fruits? Where is he? No, I said he's with us. That's what I said. Yeah, he's with us. He's happy where he is. And Baba Bishop, ngiyakholelwa ukuthi he is with us. I'll tell you why. Yingoba uLazaro nesiceli khona lapho kwathiwa khona babe vele bengasekho kulelizwe. Akulungile. But I do believe that his spirit in a hidden way is with us. I've already said a lot of things. Who he was, what he was. You can see I'm scrolling this because I say a lot, not reading. And at the same time, I want to respect the watch. NATU. I am asking for one thing. Yeah, no. If you want it, send me an email. I'll send it. slngobo.natu@gmail.com. I'll send it. It's long. slngobo.natu@gmail.com. Unatha ngimiyeka kanga. Yeah. I want to say, NATU, I pray you, don't change. Mr. Thompson should have, or would have taken over long time before he did. Because there is a time I called him to the office and said, Mr. Thompson, I'm tired. I want to leave. And I would be happy if you stand And when you do, there is one thing I'm going to ask from you. Do me one favor. Don't sell the organization. Let the organization remain what it is. This organization is politically non-aligned. So keep it like that, my brother. Kanti uyangibuka nje ngihlala. Kwafika isikhathi sama-elections, was the first to nominate me as president and said, no, press, njengoba ngangikutshelile, I nominated you. Actually, he forced me. uThompson, waselula isikhathi sami, wanathi ngenkani. Njengoba ngizwa nje nimbeka kahle, kodwa ngesinye isikhathi wayebhulidozana. He bulldozed me. What? No, not yet, Mr. President. No, not yet. And then I asked a question. Yini ongakayitholi osayifunayo, Mr. Thompson? And he said, there is only one thing then, if you want to know, that is remaining. I have been able to grasp quite a number of things, but there is only one thing I have to learn and master from you, and it is so difficult. That was between me and him. When Thompson, my deputy president, who later on took over after me, was about to leave us, I heard late that he communicated with a number of people. He knew that his time had come. That gives me comfort, at least. That gives me comfort. It gives me comfort because he made peace with himself. He made peace with whatever was to come his way. Man, he wrote me a very long message. Awungacela Mam Thompson ngathi ngiyathinta lapha kuma cellphone ngoba angizejwayele lezi zinto. Yazi ukuthi wayejwayele ukuthi asigcona thini. Wayethi lapha phakathi kwenu ngcono niphatha ama cellphone nonke khona sizohambisana kahle step by step. Ngoba amongst yourselves there are people who only know the green and the red buttons only. Esengithula ngimbuke kabi ngoba wayazi ukuthi nami nginjalo. So he wrote me a very long message, thanking me for quite a number of things, and also saying to me, you put your foot there, I wish I could. You put your foot firmly there, I also wish I could. And that left me completely confused. I never understood what was happening. It didn't dawn, it didn't occur to me that he was leaving. Far from that. I just look at this and I remember that I took the phone with an intention of calling him and asking him what he was doing. Angifuna ukumthethisa ngilwe naye for that. Uthi yini lento ayibhala la? Ngoba ngangibona ebhala ngendlela engalungile. Kanti mina engingazi ukuthi ilungile, yimina engakwazi ukulunga ukuthi kuyini. I love you, NATU. I love you. May God bless you and God be with you. Please keep on keeping on. let this torch shine. Don't blow this candle off. Ningisize kodwa kakhulu ngokukodwa, ningayibanga ikhundla. Vele sengiqedile ukukhuluma kathi andibonayi le nto ngiphethe ngesandla. Kodwa ngithi ningisize ngento yodwa, respect yourselves, respect this organization. This organization has never been for positions. It has never, we don't have that history. Remember, in my 18 years of service as president, because in the board, I served for 26 years. But as president, I served for 18 years. And in those 18 years, I want to remind you that I was never contested except for once. And I will tell you how it happened. Now, not today. I will tell you how it happened one day. That lady did not intend to contest me. She thought she was contesting Thompson because Thompson was a threat to her. And then she did not believe that I was not going to stand, because I had already started saying, no, I'm not standing anymore. And then she started diverting things, campaigning secretly, and so on. That is why I'm saying only once. And then when I did not leave, I took the nomination and form and signed it. There was no reverse for her. Out of all people, if my memory serves me well, she only got about 20 votes or what, I don't know. But something very little. She got something very little. May God bless you.
Zuma poloba wati manatu hlangana Zuma poloba wati manatu hlangana Zuma poloba wati manatu hlangana.
Thank you. Former President, sibonge kakhulu. Usiqinisile, usikhulisile. Right now, now we are rushing time because the minister needs to leave soon. I'm moving to item 12. Item 14. On behalf of the Thompson family, ngizocela usisihleniwe, Mrs. Thompson, to come to the stage on behalf of the Thompsons. Mrs. Thompson.
La pelele kona uyamamateka. La pelele kona uyamamateka. Mayebonu NATU hlangene. Mayebonu NATU hlangene. Mayebonu NATU hlangene. Mayebonu NATU pelele. Leila pelele kona uyamamateka. La pelele kona uyamamateka. Mayebonu mama enze njena. Mayebonu mama enze njena. mayebona umama enze njena, mayebona umama enza njena.
Viva NATU, viva! Viva NATU, viva! Viva Mrs. H.S. Thompson, viva! Uthisha usebenza
Usebenze esikoleni
kanzima.
Usebenze limali.
Uthisha usebenza
Usebenze esikoleni
kanzima.
Usebenze limali.
Oyena usebenza
Usebenze esikoleni
kanzima.
Usebenze limali.
Viva NATU, viva!
Viva!
Viva NATU, viva!
Viva!
Long live the spirit of the deceased president of NATU, long live!
Long live!
Long live the spirits of the deceased president of NATU, long live!
Long live!
Qina Mrs. H.S. Thompson, qina!
Qina!
Qina Mrs. H.S. Thompson, qina!
Qina!
Honorable Minister of Basic Education, Ma'am Angie Mateja, members of the Central Executive Board, led by Acting President, Mr. S. Malinda, former President of NATU and MP member, Mr. S. L. Mobo, Bishop and Lady Bishop Romo, NATU leadership and membership at large, District Director, Amajuba District, Mr. R.T. Nzama, Ndelwanga Thompson, Ndelwanga Kumalo, Lanzala Lona. Honorable guests, all protocol observed. I greet you all in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, amen. Amen. I wish to thank NATU for affording me with an opportunity to say something about the special person in my life. My name is Kenyiwe Thompson, wife to the late Ubuzo Allen Thompson. I met Mr. S.A. Thompson in the year 1997 while he was a university student. We dated for almost 8 years, and in 2004, the 5th of June, we got married. Mr. Thompson loved his family. I thank God for blessing me with such a wonderful husband who loved me dearly. My husband loved me dearly. Umthandile. Umthande, nathi bekwazi ukuthi isikhathi sizoba sincane. He did everything possible ukuthi enze sure ukuthi ngijabulile at any time. Ungenzele konke angikhali ngalutho. Mr. Thompson may be in heaven now, but I know he is looking down at us with a smile on his face saying, soldier on. Mr. Thompson loved his union NATU. Every Thursday without fail, you will find him in NATU uniform. Mr. Thompson served in all structures of the organization. He started as a chairperson of Ubongo branch, proceeded to regional level, and subsequently at NATU headquarters. In 2010, December, Mr. Thompson got sick and was admitted. It was a Christmas Day at school. I'm the one who drove him to hospital. We kept communicating while he was in hospital. He kept on saying, please tell my boss that I'm coming back home to play my role as a father. Days went by, we could not talk on the phone, but sent text messages. On the 2nd of January 2021, early in the morning, it was about 8 in the morning, I received a call from the hospital, summoning me to come to the hospital, saying his health condition was deteriorating. On my arrival at the hospital, I found him struggling to breathe and his eyes were closed. The nurses woke him up and said, "Mr. Thompson, wake up, your wife is here." He opened his eyes and smiled at me. Then he said, "I love you, my beautiful wife." He further asked, "Where are the boys?" I told him where the boys went, and he replied, "Tell them I love them a lot." I stayed with them almost the entire day at the hospital. Then at about 3:30 in the afternoon, the nurse said, "Mrs. Thompson, we can go home now. We will keep in touch." The following day, on the 3rd of January, became the hardest, the darkest day of my life when I received a call from the hospital at about 9:30 in the evening saying, "Kubi kakhulu kubaba." Then suddenly they asked, "Which funeral parlor must they call?" I told them which parlor to call. Ilanga lashona emini. Ngawubona umhlaba ungigubezela, as I never anticipated that my husband would leave so soon. As if that was not enough, a week later, my mother also passed on. Year 2021 was a very difficult year, but I also saw God's grace carrying us through. I saw God's grace carrying me through. I wish to express my deepest gratitude to everyone that supported us from the day Mr. Thompson passed on. To the National Teachers Union, I wish you the best. May the spirit of SA Thompson live amongst you all, as you are a big part of his life. I wish to thank NATU for organizing this memorial service in honor of our hero, Mr. Thompson. I hope and pray that with this memorial service, you all find closure. Lithi izwi lenkosi kwisambulo 14 verse 18. Ngase ngizwa izwi livela ezwini lithi, "Loba ukuthi babusisiwe abafileyo befela enkosini, yebo usho umoya, ukuze baphumule ekhandlekeni kwabo, ngokuba imisebenzi yabo yabalandela." Nginethemba elikhulu ukuthi uMr. Thompson la ekhona ulele kamnandi, uphumlile, kukho konke. We prayed esesibhedlela uMr. Thompson. We prayed very hard. Kwakuyinto engikhulekayo because he couldn't talk. So I prayed kakhulu. Yena evalamehlo nje elokhu ngibuka. Then mase ngishuba kwethu sezulwini, sasimusho kanye kanye nani. Size sifike sithi amen. Athi ngiyabonga Nkosikazi. So, ilokho engisukusho. Siyabonga kakhulu niNATU, kakhulu support esitholile. Siyabonga kubo bonke abasupportile from the day Mr. Thompson passed on. Siyabonga kakhulu, isandla sidlula ikhanda. Siyabonga kakhulu kubo bonke abasupportile. Yes, life is not the same, and it will never be the same, but we will soldier on. Ngiyabonga. I thank you.
Sidlule ezintweni ezinzima njalo siyanqoba.
Thank you very much. Now I will call the Deputy President.
Would like to request the acting president to come and present the next item while the family of Thompsons are still here. Shall we rise in welcoming the acting president?
Now, thank you, comrades. You may get seated. As a board, we've decided to give a deputy president. No, it's okay here. We've decided to present the Thompson's family with a special gift. The gift that we present to the Thompson family is a sign and confirms that Mr. Thompson was a NATU warrior. Mr. Thompson fought for this organization. Therefore, we'll present it. It is in a form of a sword. A sword actually says that a particular person has a potential to defend the family. Mr. Thompson defended our family NATU. Therefore, we present to him as a board this sword.
Thank you very much, Acting President. Well, we'll now go to the next item. I would have wished to request the President rather to remain here, but let's afford the President an opportunity to come and speak to us, the President of the National Teachers Union. May we all welcome him.
Malingam holy wetu. Holy wetu siya. Sithi amandla. 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 Haze. Zime. Malingam holy wetu. Lingam holy wetu. Yebo sithi amandla. Amandla aseshimempeni.
Thank you so much. Viva the spirit of Alan Thompson, viva. Colleagues, in the interest of time, I'm going to be very short. I've been made aware that the minister has to leave any time from now. Greetings to the program director, the acting president of NATU, Mr. Maboza, Thompson family and Kumalo family, that is Mrs. Thompson, the senior, Mom Thompson, and Mrs. Thompson, the junior. Special greeting to the big brother as a leader and the head of the Thompson's family. The man of God, the Bishop of NATU. Mr. Thompson used to say, Bishop Lomo is his bishop. But I said, no, this is NATU bishop. With his better half, the immediate past president of NATU, Mr. S. Ngo, our father, our mentor. Mr. Immediate President, I was not expecting to say this, but I must say it. I was once attacked by some people who want to plant the seeds of division in this organization, saying that I'm consulting to Mr. Ngo. And there was a clique of persons who were fully behind those people. I will tell you one day who are those. My response was very simple. How do you want us to lead you? Because Mr. Ndobo is the only institutional memory that we have. Mr. Biela has gone. Mr. Thompson has gone. Know whom to contact to make sure that NATU still stands on its principles. They wanted Mr. Ngobo to use that against me on their smear campaign. Minister of Basic Education, Mama Angie, you are our mother. We heard that you paid a visit to the Thompson. We were very happy about that. You showed passion that you respect leaders that you work with. Irrespective of union affiliation, you are a really mother. You embraced us all. Thank you so much for that. His Worship the Mayor of Newcastle, Zwagele in absentia. Siyazithoba kakhulu kuMayor ukuthi ube phakathi kwethu. Unfortunately, he could not get a chance to greet us. Previous NATU board members, Macingwana, I've seen you. I've seen Usis Mami. I've also seen R.N. Ngobo. Colleagues, we are happy that you are with us today. The General Secretary of NATU and the Vice President, Bata, the only board member who holds the position that he got in our last election. We are all active. Vice President Lamini, Vice President Gema, Vice President Nhlapo, and your better half, Babu Nhlapo, is here. Director of the NATU Teacher Development Institute, Baba, Professor Imenda, you are our pillar of strength. Thank you so much. NATU full-time shop steward, the SACE CEO, Sis Ella, we are very grateful you are with us today. GEPF, Mr. Selemani, representatives from labor organizations who came to grace this day with us today. We are grateful, colleagues, because even if we fight for the self-safe space, but singabantu bakaNkulunkulu sisonke. Business partners of NATU who are here today with us today, we are grateful that you have come to grace this occasion. EEP members, RECs, BECs, and members of NATU there at home. Meet the people who are with us today. Distinguished guests, leaders, and friends of NATU, this day is very important day to NATU. Family, just for two reasons, colleagues. It helps us to fulfill our long-desired will together and thank the precious gift God gave to our organization. It also gives us time to have closure as a family and to celebrate the life of our late president, Comrade Skhumbuzo Allen Thompson. We mourned as a Thompson. We mourned as a National Teachers Union. His school mourned, and the Department of Education and the whole country mourned as well. Because of the great loss, we lost the son of the soil. For those who could not attend his funeral, let us now celebrate his life achievements and great contributions he made to NATU, from being Ubombo Brand chairperson, North Coast Region, and in the Central Executive Board, where he served as a Vice President, Conditions of Service, where he worked closely under the supervision and guidance of his predecessor, Honorable Immediate Past President Dong. Great leaders' lives are celebrated. It was good to celebrate the life of our own hero, the NATU Firebomb and the NATU Lion. Allow me, Mr. Program Director, to extend my sincere apologies to the general membership of NATU at home and those at schools for not physically attending this activity. It is beyond our control that we would have invited all members, friends of NATU, to this function for us to get closure. Remember, colleagues, that COVID-19 is still with us, and we are a responsible organization. The country is not yet open. We still live with this monster disease. I would have organized this activity in an open venue or stadium. Kindly accept my apologies. Colleagues, I will skip some of the things in the interest of time. But I would love to look at some lessons we learned from this giant. President Thompson's life has taught us that leaders are born with leadership qualities. The born leader needs to have a mentor who will identify the potential and work on that spark to a blazing flame. It happened with Mr. Thompson. Born leaders wait for their turn and never jostle for leadership positions. Those do not have leadership qualities do anything and everything in their power to leadership positions. And the organization collapses in a very short space of time. Should not be a church, Bishop. Thank you, Mr. President. You spoke to this. Should it be a church? Should it be a school? Madam Minister. Or any other form of an organization. It was not the case with this distinguished leader, Mr. Thompson. I've learned that Mr. Thompson, at the age of 17, he became a youth president. A youth president, underline that, a born leader. A youth president at the age of 17. At the age of 19, he was the president of the Student Representative Council at the University of the North campus. He was elected as a president. I know what I say. As a president of Ubongo brand. Why? Because the chairperson of the branches represented the president in those structures. And the regional executive council member of North Coast region, vice president and deputy president to our immediate past president, S.L. Ngo. Mr. Ngo could easily identify the leadership qualities in him. I spoke from the young leader, and spoke to the young leader and shaped him to such a sharp and a grateful NATU ambassador. Mr. Thompson was a NATU ambassador. Thanks to you, Mr. President S.L. Ngo, for allowing this son of NATU to freely execute his duties under your own guidance. The duties he carried to the best of his ability without fear or favor. We lost the leader. We lost the president. We lost the father. We lost the chief in commander of NATU. President Thompson was friendly to those who pay respect to the organization. I don't want to say the opposite to those who did not pay the respect to the organization. He was a popular and charismatic leader, but never used that against his predecessor. He respected the office of the president because he knew there is always one center of power in every organization. We can't have an organization where there are two centers of power, colleagues. He will share whatever information with his leader, seeking for guidance and express his pure and honest views on the matter before he could be on any form of media. This is an enduring and cardinal lesson indeed, colleagues. Mr. Thompson contributed as an educator, Madam Minister. He could achieve 100% pass with his matric mathematics and physical science in a school in a deep rural area. Without resources, our schools are without resources. Especially those in a deep rural area. You know what I mean. Those in township, they do not have resources. But Mr. Thompson, because he was passionate actually about education, but he could manage to achieve 100%. Colleagues, I must say that he could speak from the heart because he has experience on these things. On behalf of the board, leaders of NATU and general membership, I would like to thank those who were with us physically, emotionally, and with prayers during his hard times. Your condolences you sent to us kept us strong, and we felt that we are not alone. That's why we are here today, and we are strong, and we soldiered on as members of NATU and leaders of NATU. Thanks to the Thompson, Madam President Thompson Hlengiwe, Mama Mazwane, and his siblings, you borrowed us your husband, you borrowed us your son, your brother, your father, to be the servant of NATU. Because, colleagues, I strongly believe that if you are a leader, you are a servant. That's what we were told in NATU. If you are a leader, you are a servant. Mr. Thompson was a servant of NATU and a servant of all workers in the Department of Education, irrespective of union affiliation. And they have an obligation to serve with integrity and passion in the name of Mr. Thompson. He nearly lost his life for the love he had for this organization. It is so unfortunate that in nowadays, organizations are led by sellouts. Not NATU, but organization. Remember, NATU is an organization as well. People who want to lead to benefit themselves in one way or another over the members, of which it was not the case with the era of Mr. Ngobo and Mr. Thompson. Special thanks to the only NATU institutional memory, Mr. Ngobo, the MP. You assisted us a lot because it was for the first time that the president of NATU passes while in the office. You never confused your political career with us as NATU, but you came to us as pure, Mr. Ngobo, as pure past president of the organization and pure father to us as your kids. Special thanks to the minister. Madam Minister, we thank you a lot. I can confirm that you are a really man. Fortunately, I've spoken to this, that you visited our late president's family. That is a sign of paying tribute to his family. You are a true female leader in South Africa. And you are a true leader we ever had as a Minister of Education in this country. Umsebenzi wakho uyayikhulumela, Mama Minister. Your concept, Mr. Thompson, would have liked to raise with you. There are not many issues, Madam Minister. The first issue is the issue of safety and security in our schools. Schools in the Republic of South Africa. Our teachers have become the soft targets. Teachers are brutally attacked and killed in and out of schools. We still humbly request that the Department of Education prioritize the safety in our schools. If the government of this country really takes the education of our learners seriously. We cannot attract young and energetic teachers to the profession if we cannot protect workers at workplace. I don't speak of gate openers as security. No, we can't say we have a security if we have that innocent old man who opens and closes the gates. No. We speak of armed security at schools as it happened with all government sites, like clinics, home affairs, and etc. Mr. Thompson could have appreciated that learners are back to school, Madam Minister, as normal, because the issue of teaching the nation was in his heart. And we as NATU, we appreciate. We are 104 years. We were committed, and we are still committed in the education of learners in the Republic of South Africa. We have excelled on that one for these 104 years. We never diverted from that, Madam Minister. The issue of infrastructure is still a challenge. Many of storm-damaged schools are not yet repaired, especially in deep rural provinces, as well as the issue of shortages of educators, substitute educators, and we always told of financial constraints. That is unacceptable because this is a direct violation of learners' right to learn. Why? We have NATU and other organizations energetic and always willing teachers to teach. School just need resources and request local authorities to encourage their local communities to look after the school infrastructure, because we must act collectively. As we request this from our Honorable Minister, we must make sure that our communities are actually encouraged to keep and look after the infrastructure that has been put there. Despite of all these challenges, Madam Minister, I want to give you assurance that our teachers and leaders are committed to contribute in the improvement of education sector, just because you always engage with unions. We have a special minister here. She opens platform for engagement with us all. So, colleagues, that's why I say we as NATU, we are committed to support the minister to better our education system in the Republic of South Africa in the name of Alan Thompson. Actually, one is running out of words. No word one could use to express gratitude on the work done by this outstanding, brilliant, and focused leader. Allow me, Mr. Program Director, in conclusion, to announce that after looking at the valuable contributions made by this NATU Fireball, the board is confirming that, in honor of him, the motion to name a Madadeni Hall, that's our hall, after him, this will assist us to keep the legacy of Mr. Thompson, colleagues. Yeah, this will be supported, colleagues, and approved in a conference. Wait, after the conference, you will see. We will also have to organize lectures on the lives and contributions of all NATU leaders. Mr. Thompson's lecture will be amongst the first. That is very important, colleagues, because we need not to look at our organization at its status quo, and we forget all the way from the people who actually started the organization as early as 1918. Reverend Abba, we need to have a lecture talking about the contribution made by Reverend Abba as the first president of the organization. So we will set that, and it will be happening. You will ask me. Colleagues, this will keep the legacy of NATU generation. This will keep the legacy for NATU generation to come. I'm sure that when NATU celebrates the second centenary, colleagues, we are moving towards NATU's second centenary. If we are 104, we are only left with 96 years. Colleagues, history will judge us wrong if we do not adhere to our legacy. To all leaders of NATU, I would like to thank you for your support and your resilience. I pray that we join hands and move forward. Our elective conference is nearby. Let us conduct credible elections, colleagues, and soldier on. NATU is a credible organization that was established, as I said, in 1918. And President Thompson was the 14th president of NATU. Presidents do come and go, but NATU stands, colleagues. To the living NATU stalwart, Mr. Ngo, I want to remind the House that all achievements made by Mr. Thompson in NATU was through your leadership qualities and sharp eye to identify him, and you deployed him in very strategic positions in NATU for the benefit of the organization. The fortunate part of it, Mr. President, is that in your term of office, you had a young man who always was willing to learn from you as a chief in command, who was willing to take mandate and orders from you as the president. That is why now and today we speak of Mr. Thompson as our hero. Colleagues, in those words, I would like to take this opportunity and thank each and every individual of you who made this day a success. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. There's few things or few issues that I would wish to touch, but we are at the end of our program. Let me just indicate that after we have concluded the program, there will be refreshment, and we have 8 serving stations. Let us be patient, colleagues. There's enough food here, and even on the overflowing area, food has been prepared. The colleagues who came with us, the VIP, will still go back to the room where we actually took our breakfast in the morning. So before we do anything, immediately after the closure, we would request that we allow our VIPs, we allow our guests to leave this hall. Then later on, we'll then go to our various serving stations. Colleagues, while we do all that, the band will still be performing, our artist of the day will still be performing, and let's enjoy ourselves in celebration of the life well lived, the life of our late president, Mr. Skumbuzo Allen Thompson. I would like to request the man of God to come and close with a short prayer, as at the same time wishing to request the president to officially close this gathering. May we all rise.
Father, we thank you that you have been with us up until this far. We give you the praise, honor, and preeminences. And we say yours is your kingdom and glory and power. Majesty belongs unto you. Let us receive the blessing of the Lord. I pray that the angel of the Lord will go before you to lead you and guide you. May the angel of the Lord build a hedge of protection around you and your families. May you be elevated on high. Be in a place where no human hand can touch you. I pray for traveling mercies to those that will be driving far and near. Let this be your portion. In the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, and in the name of the Holy Spirit, I call it done. Amen.
While still standing, the president is coming here. Kindly forgive us. I know that it's a Friday. You would have loved to leave this place as early as possible, but attending a gathering of Mr. Thompson's caliber, it will still be difficult to have it in a very, in a short space of time, amounting to 3 hours. Mr. President, over to you.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, the gathering is officially closed. Drive safe home. Thank you so much.
Can the band perform? And yes, let's start with the singer of the day. Let's dance together. And then after that, the band will play some nice jazz music. Thank you very much.
Jumbo.
Can't put. Yeah? Except from US chief regulation, we need this line. I just realized what it's too late. Oh, yes, let's go to bed. Yazın. Bosa askat.